Hey guys, Bill37 here, or Kurt, whatever you want to call me. You're mostly probably going to know me as Kurt because this is my school project, but either way, let's get started. This is my Genius Hour project. My topic was, should you be buying computers online or should you be building them? I know building them sounds like a daunting task, but it's really not that hard. So let's just get started with the parts here. Let's get started with the motherboard. This is the MSI B450M Pro-M2. This retails for $75 on Amazon. Processor. We have here our Ryzen 5 1600. I know it has thermal paste on it. Thermal paste is something that's very important for keeping your CPU at normal temperatures, as well as a heatsink, which here we have the AMD Wraith Stealth cooler. I'm using that one because the one that came with this one broke on as soon as I bought it, but whatever. So that retails for about $180 new. I got it for $100 at Micro Center. Memory. We have two different sticks. I know. Two different branded sticks. They're weird, don't get me wrong, but as long as they're the same speed, they're gonna work, and the same type memory. So this is 4 gigabytes of DDR4 clocked at 2400 megahertz. Both these sticks are actually. This one, the only difference is, this one is Corsair, and this one is Crucial. This one does not have a heat shield. This one does. Solid state drive. This is a ADATA SU655. Do not mind my dog walking up the stairs, but this is the ADATA SU655 solid state drive. This makes your computer a lot faster. And hi, Bell. You want to be the mascot for the video? This will make your computer a lot snappier, and it's 120 gigabytes. It goes for $20 on Amazon. I forgot to go over the prices for the memory. Price for the memory, $27 for each. This is a 320 gigabyte Western Digital hard drive for our mass storage. You want to put your OS on this. That retails for $20 again, but you're gonna put your OS on the solid state drive. This is a Western Digital Caviar Blue. This is 320 gigabytes of mass storage. This can go for about $30, I'm guessing, because I didn't really buy it technically, but that's okay. We'll go into that story later. And this is a Corsair CX750 power supply. This is a little bit overkill for our recommended power supply with our graphics card. Hi, Bella.
Hi, Bella.
This is a little overkill for our recommended power supply for our graphics card.
Hey guys, I'm editing the video right now and I realized that I don't have a spot to put in my commercial for my sponsor. So it's going to be right here as they paid for the graphics card mainly. So yeah, roll the clip.
Do you need physical therapy? Why not come to Active Physical Therapy with 2 convenient locations in Bellingham and Milford, Massachusetts?
Active Physical Therapy greets everybody the same and treats everybody equally. They also give some amazing massages, if I don't say so myself. They've got all the equipment you need for age, size, or whatever you need to work on. Here's a few examples of what you can do here if you have a knee injury.
And speaking of which, our graphics card was the 1660 Ti. You can buy this for about $280 new, and this requires an 8-pin power connector, and it's also recommended a 500 watt power supply. This specific model is overclocked by gigabyte, but you really can't overclock it much more. I've tried, that did not go well. This is actually my computer. I took it apart to do this project, and this is our case. This was $75 at Micro Center. You can get it about $71 on Amazon if you want to save that extra $4. And have to wait for your delivery because that's so long. Anyway, this is NZXT H500 by NZXT, and it comes with 2 case fans and a lot of space. I mean, this thing is ginormous compared to my old case. And so let's get started. So yeah, we'll be back in a couple seconds. All right, so we're gonna start assembling our motherboard. Now the motherboard is basically the first thing you're gonna want to assemble. That way, it just makes things easier and you don't have to actually do things inside your case. So the first thing we're gonna put in our motherboard is our processor. Now this differs between Intel and AMD. This here is an AMD processor. So AMD processors have their pins on the CPU, while Intel has them on the motherboards. So what you're gonna want to do is, it's a very simple process, but these are very delicate parts. This lever right here, you're gonna want to lift it up like this so it opens the socket. And then as you see here, there's a golden arrow on our CPU right there in the corner. You're gonna want to match that up with the arrow right here, or the white dot that you can see there. And then you're just gonna want to very gently place down your CPU it will fall into place. Do not apply any pressure whatsoever. That will bend pins, and that's always bad. So then you click it down, that lever down, and your CPU is installed. Let's go with our memory. That way we can just put the heatsink on later. If you have, so my motherboard's pretty small, not gonna lie, probably because it was pretty cheap, but check out your motherboard manual. If you have 4 RAM slots here and you only have 2 sticks, you're gonna want to go every other slot, but you have to check which ones those are. In my situation, I have 2 and I only have 2 slots, so this is kind of perfect. It doesn't really matter where you install them, just install them right. So as you can see, right here, there's a little bit, this side of the RAM is a little bit longer than this side. All you're gonna do is make sure they match up like this. They don't, so see, everybody makes mistakes. You just wanna line it up like this and push down. Don't be afraid to apply pressure in this situation. Here comes our mascot again. There's our mascot. Say hi, Bella. Hi. Alright, now let's get back to our project. Second stick, just the exact same thing. Make sure it lines up. I probably should have installed the first stick in the back, but whatever. Then apply pressure. Make sure both sides click, and that's your memory installed. Let's go with our heatsink now. So as you can see here, on our motherboard, it says CPU_fan1. That's where this little power cable connects to make your fan spin. And if your fan doesn't spin, your CPU gets hot, overheats, and that's a lot of money down the drain. That has happened before with my old processor. We will talk about that if you want eventually. Just type that in the comments. So you just want to line this up. Normally you're going to want to apply thermal paste. I am stupid and I don't have any on me right now, so I'm going to have to use the remainder of this. I definitely need to buy some. I'll just wait for eBay to send me a coupon, basically. So you just kind of want to line up these screws with the holes on the motherboard, like this, as you can see. And place it down. Kind of gently, but not really. You just want to make sure they line up with the holes. And once all sides line up, you're going to want to screw them in a crisscross pattern. So you're going to want to go from one of the corners first. Granted, they're all corners. You're going to want to go from one corner first. And as you can see, this will rise up a little bit. You don't necessarily want that to happen, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Then you just have to press down to make sure it gets in the hole, so when you screw it in, it actually connects and you're not just screwing in nothing. So as you can see, it's now screwed in. So you got 2 screwed in. Congratulations, now you have 2 more to go. You will need to put a little bit of pressure. Oh, okay, I can't apparently use a screwdriver. Just make sure that they get into the bracket to hold the CPU into place. I mean, not the CPU, the heatsink. Sorry, don't mind me not knowing how to talk right now. Basically, just screw all 4 in. Make sure it actually gets into the holes. And there you go. Now we're just going to take our CPU fan header and plug it into here. So as you can see here, there's a little thing. This is just to support it. As you can see, there's 2 little strips right here. All you're gonna do is place that, line them up like this. Lining up. See, I have a bent pin. Way to go, me. That can happen with these pins easily, and they can also break easy. So you definitely want to be careful with that. And it's in now. We're connected. Our CPU fan is ready to go. And let's just try to neaten up this cable a little bit. Yeah. Or maybe not, because I don't want to break anything. But that's good. Now we get to our case. Alright, now we're going to try to just neaten up our cables a little bit. So for now, we're just going to slip. These are all cables that are important to being able to turn on your computer. We'll go over these real quick. This is a USB 3. USB are on the top of your case right here. Did I just knock off a screw? I might have. That might not be good. So, USBs are right up top here. These are to plug in things like mouse, keyboard. This powers these. So, we're just going to slip this into this little hole right here. Pull it through. Next, we have the front panel connectors. Now, normally, you will have 5 separate little annoying, really annoying cables that you have to plug in. It's a very tedious task to do. Thankfully, NZXT has been nice to us, and they just do it like this. So we're also going to just kind of plug that in like this. Slip it through the same hole we just did the USB 3. And then last we have the audio cable, the HD audio. Just plug it in here. Again, make sure they all slip through. Oh, I didn't get it through the hole. Way to go me. And yeah. Now the only thing I don't like about this case is the drive bay, and you have to kind of remove it to be able to install the hard drive, and then you have to reinstall it, and that's a pain. Especially when you're doing this with one person. But you can get a buddy, like my cameraman here, Marcelo. Thank you, Marcelo. Everybody applaud Marcelo.
Thank you, thank you.
This is honestly very annoying to do, especially when your case moves like mine is doing right now. And you can't connect the screwdriver because you're an absolute idiot. All good though, we got this. Don't mind the toilet that just flushed. Man, we're getting a lot of interruptions in this video, huh? Well, keep on screwing. Keep on screwing. And we should be very close to being done. If not done. And 3 out of 4 out. Maybe. Come on. And we're done. We got our drive bay out. So now we can install our hard drive. So this is pretty simple, but at the same time kind of difficult. I know that made plenty of sense, but alright. You're just going to want to slide it in here, like that. So, and then you're going to want to have these holes on the hard drive line up with the holes on the drive bay. Oh, I put this in the wrong way. We're not going to mind that. Are we? Please don't. So, did I put it in? I did not put it in the wrong way. I'm really kind of stupid. Oh yeah, I was really stupid. So, and you want to get the screws that look like this. These come with your case. They look something like this. And then just kind of. We're only going to put 2 in each side because you really don't need 3 in each side. That's just kind of the extra protection, I guess. So you just screw it in, screw one in. I think we'll do this in a crisscross pattern as well. Flip it over here, grab another screw, put it like this. You might have to raise your hard drive a little bit to get the holes to line up, but once you go like this, you are good. So we've got 2 in now. We'll connect it on this side. We don't need to connect the middle one. That one's just stabilization, and with 2 on each side, we'll be fine. Why that's not going in so easy, I'm not sure. What on earth? Why is that not going in easy? Well, we're just gonna keep screwing and hope I'm not breaking anything. I don't recommend doing this. Yeah, we're gonna unscrew this. I think I screwed up. We're gonna unscrew this. See, these are mistakes that you could make. So basically, we're gonna unscrew it to see why it was like that. And I can't tell, so we're gonna replace the screw just in case it was stripped, like it is. Found the issue there. I don't wanna. Whatever. Just watch out for the screw I use, I guess. See, that goes in easier. Until we get to the end, of course, but whatever. You just want to keep screwing. So now we got 3 in. 1 left. Last one. We're going to go in here again. And very simply screw it in. And now that you have that in, you can reinstall your drive bay, which is another very difficult task when you're doing this one person. If you have a drill, it's better, but I don't have a drill on me. I do, I just don't know where it is. So it's not on me, but... Alright, so this is our second take because we installed the drive bay wrong last time. We had it like this, so you can't connect anything here. Well, I had it like that. Sorry, that's my bad, but you're going to want to line up the holes here. And then try, one person doing this is quite difficult. You're just going to want to kind of maybe screw it in with your fingers a little bit at first.
Just that way you can get one screw in and then it'll hold the drive bay so you could have two hands again. So you just want to tighten it all the way until it's like that. Then you're going to want to make sure these screws are lined up. These holes are lined up. You'll notice the drive bay is coming closer to the wall. Do it again. 4 out of 4. Done. So now we can see here we have our connections for our SATA drive, for our SATA cables there. All right, let's install our solid state drive now. This is where our OS goes. So to install it on NZXT case, you just, if you look over here, you can see that you can press this a little bit and it'll pop up. So you can just kind of press in and this will lower. And then it's very simple after that. You just plop it in like this. Make sure it's on the right side. Always a good thing. Place it down like this so you can screw it in. You just want to line up the holes again, like this. Maybe use your hand to get one in again. Like that. And then you're going to want to go like this and start screwing like this again. Oh, I wasn't even screwing that time. I was just making circles with the screwdriver. So now you'll be able to have two hands again because it's holding it in. And you want to do it on this corner. And it might do this, might move around on you a little bit. Just make sure it's kind of like in the hole on the SSD. Start screwing again. You'll notice the SSD rises a little bit every time you screw it in. That's because it's being screwed in and being connected. So I would just like to say right now while I'm screwing this in that the hardest part of building a computer was probably the cables. I'm not gonna lie there. The cables are tedious. They're very annoying. There's a lot of them, especially on this power supply. There's a lot of them. Like, I have an older power supply that has a lot less cables, but oh boy. It's not very powerful. It's pretty powerful, but not really compared to this one. And this is screwed in. Now it's screwed in. Now, to reinstall it, you're just going to want to line up these little pegs here with the holes. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 holes. Just want to line them up right here, place down, and then push this little thing in the same way you did to remove it, and it'll click in. And there you go. Your SSD is now installed, onto your case at least, not still installed. Power supply now. Now with the power supply, you're going to want to have the fan facing down. And because we have about 700,000 cables, and many of them are useless, we're going to just kind of neaten these out, find the ones we need. If you had a modular power supply, which is where you can connect the cables that you need, that's a lot better because you don't have extra cables that you have to find a spot to put. So you're just going to want to line it up like this, like so. You want to get all the holes lined up like this. Oh, so get our power supply screws, which are the larger ones with the heads like this. And just kind of get ready to screw this in. Now this is, again, another difficult task if you're one person doing this. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to flip this case back upright. And try this, because now we can move it. I can move my case a little bit so you guys can see better. I'll try to move my hand out of the way, but just line it up with the holes again. We're going to try to insert that one just because that's the one I feel like. And we got it, thank God. So then you just kind of start screwing, but apparently I screwed up screwing things in. So way to go me. We'll just back it up a little bit and start screwing again and hope it doesn't move again. Got it this time. Woohoo! So now we just screw in the rest. Like this, so. And boom, power supply is screwed in.
Alright, now while we have a chance, we're just going to connect some of the power cables. We're going to connect them to our hard drive and our solid state drive. So, just look here. You can see that this is what they look like. The SATA power cables, at least. They're kind of long and they have a little cut here. So, on the bottom of your solid state drive and hard drive, you're going to be able to see. It's kind of difficult to see on camera, but you're going to want to line them up like so. And just, am I powering it right? Nope, I'm not. So, it's basically got two ways you can go. It can go like this or like this. Ours goes this way. However, we're not plugging it in with that one because that would just be disaster. This is going to be a disaster as it is. So, we got this, don't worry. I got this. Plug in. Good. So, we got our SATA power to our SSD, and now we can power our hard drive with the exact same type of cable. And as you can see here, you can see it this time. It's just like that, so you're going to want to line this up. So, we need to get our other SATA cable, which is right here. There she goes. And now, we're going to plug this, line this up with the long connector here. And I can't see it because I'm blind. Click, and SATA, all our SATA devices are powered. However, they're not transferring anything because well, first off, our motherboard's not installed. Second off, our SATA devices are not connected to our motherboard. You know why? Because the motherboard's not installed yet. So you can just kind of tidy away these cables like this. You're always going to want to make sure that they're connected. Now you're going to want to find a couple cables for your motherboard. That is going to be, if you have a graphics card with a power connector, you're going to need a PCIe. So it's going to say either VGA or PCIe on this side here. Alright, mine says PCIe. Or we're going to want to sneak it through up here. And just let it kind of hang out for now. We're also going to want to find the biggest cable here, which is our ATX power connector, which just powers the entire motherboard. If this is not plugged in right, nothing will work, so you just gotta do the same thing you just did with the PCIe. We're going to want to find our CPU connector. That can be a task, but I just found it. It's right here. It'll say CPU. And you're just going to want to bring it through. Same spot we just did for our other two cables. The rest of these cables, you can find a spot to tidy away. This is never easy, especially when you lost your zip ties. So we're just going to try to make this as, we'll say neat, but we know it's not going to be neat as possible. This is where a few more fans would go if you needed them. And so yeah, now we're going to install our motherboard. Alright, now we're going to install our motherboard. For me, I had an issue with some of the standoffs, so I had to replace them. Normally you'll be good, so in this case I have to use different screws for a couple of different standoffs. Motherboard standoffs won't always be installed, but they look something like this. They will hold your system, your motherboard, so you won't break it really. And basically you just kind of, you find the holes on your motherboard. So we got one there, here, here, and here. So we only have 6. This is only a micro ATX board. If you get a larger one, like an ATX or a large ATX, I forget exactly what they're called, they're eATX boards. So you literally just line them up with the standoffs. And if you want to be, if you want to install a I/O shield, you would put it back here. I'm gonna do it because I honestly feel like they're completely useless. It's really like just to protect dust, but it's really honestly useless. So as you can see, it's lined up here, so we can screw it in. The 2 gold standoffs I have to use different screws for. Otherwise, we use the big screws that we had. For the gold ones, we get these small screws because they're slightly different, a big difference. But I just dropped it, and luckily it landed right in the standoff. So then you just kind of screw it in. On the motherboard, you are going to want to go in a crisscross pattern again. So as you can see up here, we have a black standoff, so we can place it down like so. And screw in. You're just going to want to screw in really with your fingertips. That way, as soon as it becomes difficult, or like it stops
circling, you don't try it anymore and break it. So see, it's kind of difficult and it just stopped. Place it like this, screw it in again, and screw until it's tight. Now, we would normally have to install one here, but for some reason NZXT has it where it's just kind of it's like a standoff without having to screw anything in. So I like it, don't get me wrong, but now let's go here. And these are actually like case protectors, they're PCI protectors. You normally have 2 of these here too, and they would all be filled, but I forgot to reinstall them, and I kind of got rid of them. So we'll just pretend they're there for now. Gonna want to start screwing again. Sorry about the background noise there. And then last standoff, we install again, like this. The last screw we install to the last standoff. And we are done. Our motherboard is installed. You can give it a little bit of a tug if you want. And now we're going to get to the tedious work, which is connecting all of these cables. Now, we don't have too many. Normally, you might have more. You might not. It really kind of depends on your motherboard brand of your case brand. So, for us, we're just going to kind of try to find neat ways to manage our cables here. Like, we'll put one in through there, just so it doesn't look too messy, but it doesn't seem to be working. We'll work on that eventually. But for your system fans, like this one here, this one is just to keep airflow good. You're going to want to find where it says System Fan 1. And just, again, on the back here is a little, like, I don't even know what they're called, but they just hold it in. And as you can see here, again, we have the same thing, like protecting the pins almost. So we're going to want to line it up. This is always kind of difficult, but you should be good. Maybe. And click in. We're good. There. Alright. So let's connect our USB 3 first, because that's the one that's sticking out to me right now. So this is USB 3. This connects to the thing that says JUSB 3. It looks like this. You can kind of see how they would match up. You're going to want to take this where it's got a little arrow almost and push it down into the little hole right there and connect it. And it's connected. So now we're going to get the front panel connectors, which connect to JFP1, which means J front panel 1. And yeah, so again, I do apologize about any background noise, but there's nothing I can do about it. So we got it right there. It's HD audio, and it plugs into where it says JAUD1. And you got to watch out because there's no pin in the middle. And you got to watch where there's no pin on the actual motherboard. And voila, we are done that. So we have all these cables connected now. I'm going to slip this through because I don't like how that looks. And we're gonna pull these back in a little bit. But now let's get to our CPU power. This is right here. Alright, so found out my camera was recording backwards, but that's okay. We'll hope that we can fix that. But anyways, here's our CPU power connector. You're just gonna want to plug that in up on this little 4-pin where it says CPU_PWR1. That stands for CPU power. Bring it across here. I'm gonna just pull mine through a little bit because I didn't really have enough. And as you can see here, it's got 2 little click things. You're gonna want to make sure these click in. So you just push down, make sure it's lined up and push, and they click in. And they are now clicked. They are now connected. Next we have our ATX connector, or our motherboard connector. This is the main connector. This is the big boy. Now we have to make sure this here clicks into this on the motherboard. So just kind of find it and push and make sure it is clicked. And the last one is our PCIe connector, so that means we have to install our graphics card. Now this is a pretty simple task. You have a couple screws left, and you use them to hold your graphics card into place so it doesn't really move. This PCI X16 connector, you just kind of line it up with this, where it says, does it say it? PCIe_E1, and it's the longest one there most likely, and it's got a color. Oh, first, unscrew your PCIe lock. This comes with NZXT cases at least. You basically just lift. You can lift now, and you can install your graphics card. Well, you can. It'll be a very difficult task.
So we're just going to screw this in so it holds itself. And then we're going to take our graphics card. Just make sure it lines up with our 2 brackets here. And make sure it lines up on the motherboard. And then once it goes like this, push. You'll hear a click. You don't worry about pushing too hard. Just make sure it connects. You got your 2 holes here. So you're going to want to get a screw and start screwing in. And I dropped the screw. Way to go, me. Dog mascot's excited. We're just going to start screwing this in. So that way it holds our graphics card into place. And screwed in. Now we get another screw, do it on this side this time. And start screwing again. Now our graphics card is installed. We just have to use this PCIe power connector. You're gonna wanna make sure this connects itself because a lot of graphics cards actually have 6-pin connectors. So you can do this as a 6+2 technically. So you need to connect it like so. It's kind of not easy, but as you can see now, they line up. And then you're just gonna wanna find it, make sure they line up right there. Push in, make sure it clicks like it has, and still need to install our SATA data transfer. So let's go with SATA 1, SATA 2 as this one, and you just want to click it in where it says SATA 2. Click in, please, thank you. And SATA 1 where it says SATA 1. SATA and SATA are the same things. It's serial ATA. And make sure that it clicks. It clicked, and now we slip it in under here. And let's actually lift our case up and show you the back. This is what the back looks like right now. This is actually really well managed cable-wise. And like so. I just want to tuck it away. That way it's not too visible. It doesn't really matter if it's visible. It's just kind of a personal thing.
Alright guys, so I'm editing the video right now while I'm sick, and I just made a cut in between here, as you can see, but I did this because there was the 2 SATA cables were connected wrong. One was too short and couldn't reach as far as it needed to, so we just switched them around just to be aware of that. You still want to have your solid state drive as SATA 1 and your hard drive as SATA 2, or mainly it should be your boot drive as SATA 1 and your mass storage as SATA 2.
This time. So now we can take it through and connect it to this. Like so. As you can see, it's connected and actually reaches that time. Now we can use our second SATA to plug it into our SSD. Like so. Flip it over. Don't be dumb like me, just flip it over. And I got good news. You've built your computer. NZXT's H500 has tempered glass for the front side, so you can see into your beauty. So now, you just kind of line it up like so. It's never easy, but just, whoops, see? This is what I mean, it's never easy. Alright, new plan. I'm putting this one on first, that way we can flip it over and install this one easier. You just kind of want to drop it in like so. Make sure it kind of clicks in, and then you can use your thumbs for this. You can use a screwdriver if you really feel the need to, but it's not required. Let's just slide this box off. And now we can put it on the side like this. And like this. You want to connect them. That, push down. You might get might not go down by itself if your wire management is terrible. But now, your case is 95% complete. All you gotta do is come back here, and as you can see, the PCIe lock is kind of not down, so this just adds a little dust to possibly get in the system, but it's nothing to worry about. well, dust is something to worry about, but, so now this is done. We can flip it up. And voila. This is the sponsorship PC. Or actually, you know what? What should we name this? I want you guys to comment below, but I think I have a good name in mind. So, this, for now, is going to be the Genius. Alright, now I'm going to teach you how to install, how to connect the cable. Some people might not know how to do this. Don't be ashamed if you don't. It tends to be difficult, and people will make this mistake a lot. So, let's plug in the power last, but Ethernet. This is required if you don't have a Wi-Fi adapter for a lot of motherboards. I do, but I just want to use Ethernet because it's more powerful. So you're going to want to plug it in up here so that you can kind of tell the relation. You're just going to click, done. Now let's do our keyboard. It's a USB. You're going to want to plug it into the USB 3 because USB 3 is faster and newer. Click. This is our mouse. Again, you want to plug it to the USB 3, newer, faster. Click. Click, thank you. Use HDMI to connect your monitor to your computer. Now, this is something that happens a lot. There's two HDMI ports. You got the one on your graphics card, and you got the one on the motherboard. You kind of need to plug it in to the graphics card, or else the graphics card's useless. And so is the entire computer. So you're going to want to see where it says HDMI. Plug it in. Please. Click. There we go. Okay, that was a little scary, not going to lie. And now we have our power connector, which we just... I'm going to hold the other side of my case so it doesn't go flying off my desk. You just push it in there. And now... Alright, so the last thing I need to connect is my headphones. So, just going to plug these in real quick. This is the headphones. This is the microphone. And now, one thing you're going to want to do is on the back of the power supply, there's a switch. You're going to want to make sure it's set to on, which is like a little line, not a circle. Make sure that's clicked on. Motherboard, or our keyboard has lit up, which means that our power supply is working. So we're just going to turn our monitor on. And the last thing we do is press this button. This determines if the entire system works or not. And if it does not, you got troubleshooting. So here we go. I hear fans. I see a light. Do I see a display? Do I see a display? I'll ask again. Do I see a display? Shows that we're powered up. This might happen. We're just gonna hit F1. And it's going to restart itself now. See, keyboard lit up, mouse lit up. Mouse lit up is the main thing. And obviously the display. And see, as you said, Pro Series, which is the name of my motherboard, or not the name, but the type of motherboard is. I don't like the fact my keyboard turned off, but that's okay. See, it says Pro Series. Now we're loading. We're loading in. We're gonna get a few benchmarks for you guys, and yeah, we'll be back. All right, so right now we have the Fortnite benchmark. We are rocking. I'll show you our settings. We're at 900p because that's all my monitor supports, but we are on Epic View Distance, shadows off, high anti-aliasing, and medium textures. We're getting about 200 FPS right now. We're going to land tilted because that's basically the most crowded spot on the map, and it'll give you a good idea. So as we glide down right now, we just had a dip to 81 FPS, which is pretty low. Still definitely playable, but right now we're getting about 160 FPS on average. We are stuttering quite a bit right now. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but you shouldn't have this. Right now we're getting about 90 FPS, which is about 30 more than you would get on a traditional Xbox or PlayStation. And I'm just going to do a little bit of gameplay. But as you can see, we're getting a very solid frame rate right now. Nothing to complain about, especially with the settings we're on. Woo! Well, that kid's dead now. Also, your computer won't be as loud as this. I just have my graphics card fan set high, just because that's how I like my graphics card. That way it'll stay cool. I don't mind the noise. I really don't. I've honestly gotten used to it by now. It's nothing that bothers me. Again, this isn't a supercomputer, I mean, but 280 FPS, 300 FPS in a building, that's pretty good. Especially compared to the console, which is very similar settings, minus console has shadows, and you're getting 60 FPS on the console. Now, I'm just gonna try to get into some good combat and not like get either sniped or get a bot. I want to get some good battle going. That way you guys can see how it plays out in combat. Because combat's always a killer, and in Fortnite there's no really, you can't benchmark the game well because it's Fortnite, and there's a very dramatic FPS decrease when you're in battle. So, all right, listen up, sweaty boy. So as you can see, we're still getting more than playable frame rates here. Not sure how that guy just bamboozled me, but it's all good. Woo! Oh, he just got sniped. So, as you can see, we did get some pretty good frame rates there, and, in that battle, so... Whoops, we're not going to talk about that.
Ooh.
Alright, I'm actually doing okay, so that's a good thing. Alright, now we're going to bench GTA because this is the only two games I have on my computer, and I really don't want to install any. So we're playing with 1600 by 900 with a 60 Hz monitor. We're going to have MSAA or FXAA on. This is all max settings, basically. We have TXAA on. We have everything on ultra high or very high or ultra. And we're going to run a benchmark. So let's get started. Here we go. So, as you can see, we're already getting better than console. We're getting about 78 to 80 FPS right now on all max settings. It's dipping down into the 60s, but nothing below 60 so far. That wasn't the most graphically intense scene either, but we're getting about 60 FPS here, which is definitely playable. Even did drop into the 40s there, but we can always turn down settings. I think it's in the desert, yep. And we're getting about 100 FPS here, which is pretty good, 90, 92-ish. It tends to dip during night, I guess, but that's okay. Here on the Del Perro Beach, we're getting about 90, 95, I would say is the average here. Our MSI Afterburner, which shows us everything, so it's not working, but anyways, we're getting about 60 FPS here, and a bridge. This one is a very intense scene, and then as it connects to the plane here, we're getting about 60 FPS still. And because it's speeding up and going through, we're actually getting better frame rates than I thought it would. We're getting about 90 right now. Now we're dropped down to about 80, so I'd say like we're on 75 average right now. 85 average. Because I mean, this is bringing us through a lot, and we have a lot to process here. But as you can see, this is a much more than playable frame rate here, especially on all ultra settings. So we're going to compare that, or I'm going to compare that to the computer that I was looking at online that you can buy for $900. This build total was just over $700, I believe, if you do all MSRP prices. So this is not a very intense scene. It does get a little bit, but so we're getting about 95 FPS right now. Alright, so I'd say the average throughout that was about, I'd say 85 FPS on average throughout that whole benchmark, so let's not show the screen right now because of that. But I'd like to say thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed our build tutorial here. Leave a comment below if you liked it, if there's anything I should improve on, and what you want the name of this computer to be. And just let me know what you thought. This was my first build video. There could be more coming up in the future if I get sponsors, but nobody likes me to sponsor me, so that's okay. But I'd like to say thank you guys for watching, and I will see you later. Bell37 out.
And I am the cameraman.